So now, Ludovic Kennedy introduces Did You See?
Hello. With only 22 more days to go before the IBA announces which consortium, if any, is to have the franchise for breakfast time programmes, BBC Scotland is already off the mark with its own. This week, to celebrate 50 years of radio in Edinburgh, those of us who live in those parts have been entertained on our kitchen screens by a televised version of the radio programme Good Morning Scotland.
And in today's programme, the new boss of the Scottish Development Agency and the job he's got ahead of him.
A report calling for a major rethink on transport in Scotland.
An assessment of the trial of the Gang of Four by a man just back from China.
And an unusual eye view of a gentleman who's emerging more and more these days, Santa Claus.
But first, the news read for us by Bill Jack.
The headlines. In Italy, the authorities have begun moving people away from the area devastated by last week's earthquake, but many are refusing to leave their villages. At home, there will be another attempt today to avert the first in a series of one-day strikes threatened by firemen. Prescription charges go up to £1 this morning.
Well, that was radio vision, which gives the illusion of television, but without any of its visual distractions. Further south, and hot on the heels of Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World, came the first of BBC One's Great Mysteries, this one on the pyramids. From Christ's Hospital in Horsham, the same channel gave us Mastermind, with a London taxi driver, Mr. Fred Housego, winning through to the finals, largely on the strength of his knowledge about the Collegiate Church of St. Peter's, Westminster. In documentary drama, Granada gave us the impressive Life for Christine, which was aimed at bringing attention to the real-life case on which it was based. It succeeded in that it gained the attention of the Department of Health. It failed in that the Under-Secretary for Health dismissed it as a distortion, a travesty, and, of some of the characters portrayed, unfair almost to the point of caricature. Coincidental with Life for Christine came the first of the much-heralded Ireland, A Television History, a 13-part series produced by Jeremy Isaacs and written and presented by Robert Key. I'll be talking to Robert Key later in the programme. First, though, we'll discuss three of this week's programmes. Love in a Cold Climate on ITV, Best of British on the poet Brian Patton on BBC One, and Something Else, that's its title, on BBC2. And with me to talk about these programmes are the novelist Susan Howitch, author of Penmarrick, Blake Morrison, poetry and fiction editor of the Times Literary Supplement, and Janet Street Porter, who earlier this year presented the LWT programme Saturday Night People, and is now producer of 20th Century Box, a programme for teenagers which starts in London and the South East tomorrow.